live Sons of the Star podcast. We are back. How's everyone doing today? Joining me again is Cowboy Reg. I am your host, Dallas. How we doing, Cowboy Reg? You're gonna tweet out the live stream, get some folks on here.
I'm on it right now. I'm going to throw out a quick retweet off your page, and hopefully, we'll get some knowledgeable football fans in here. Get this thing rolling.
Yeah, let's do it. So today's show we are gonna do NFL draft grades or the grades for the Dallas Cowboys. We are about 2 weeks post draft, so we've had some time to think, and we are going to grade all of the Cowboys picks. That's going to be the show today, and maybe talk about some other potential free agency stuff, any of the Cowboys signings, things like that. So that's what we're going to do today. If you have some questions throughout the show, please feel free to throw that in there. Um, but other than that, how you been doing, Cowboy Reg? How's the off season treating you? What you been up to in your spare time now that you can't watch Cowboys football?
Watch a little Dallas Mavericks basketball playoffs, little Dallas Stars NHL, and my beloved New York Yankees are doing well, and just trying to stay occupied watching them. Um, Lots of studying up on our draft picks and seeing where we're at with there and watching these guys as they show up to their mini camp and getting updates. So still plenty of football to talk about. Just a matter
Oh,
of
absolutely.
it's not real games, but you know something.
Yeah, it's tough. But yeah, luckily uh we have NBA. I don't really watch any NBA, I'll be honest. I haven't watched pretty much a second of the playoffs, but I watch a lot of NHL and watch a lot of MLB as well. Um, but yeah, hockey's been great. Playoff hockey is fantastic, so I've been watching a lot of that. And then my Chicago Cubs, which are kind of surprising some folks right now. They're looking pretty good. But yeah, I mean it's tough right now. We're in between the draft and um, training camp even, but a lot of training camp doesn't really create a ton of excitement, but a little bit. And then we get into preseason and finally the NFL season, so we're kind of in the dog days of summer almost, even though it's May. So a lot of excitement post draft, but you know here we are. So whenever you're ready, Cowboy Reg, I'd like to start
Already,
diving into some
I
draft
got
grades. All
the.
right.
I just ran a quick retweet on your live post, and we should be good to go. We'll see if some people jump in. If not, we got plenty to talk about anyways.
Yeah. So if you have any questions or comments, just pop them in the chat, and we'll post them on the show. So the Dallas Cowboys. All right. Let's get straight into this thing. So we had round one. We had that blockbuster trade between Dallas Cowboys and the Detroit Lions. So the Cowboys dropped down to 29, and with their first pick, or in the 29th pick of the first round, they selected Tyler Guyton, Oklahoma offensive tackle, um, 6'8", 322, looking to come play left tackle, we assume. So, what are your thoughts, Cowboy Reg? Give him a grade, A
Well,
through
I
F.
yeah, I gave him a B plus on that one, and I'm starting to think that maybe it's an A minus, but I'm going to stick with the B plus till I see him play. We're going to need him. We got Tyron Smith gone off to the Jets. Shipped him off to protect Aaron Rodgers, and
Good
we
luck with
needed
that.
we need to replace him. So we found a similar body type and skill set, and just straight up replaced him with a younger version. However, he's unproven. He didn't, he can't. He's coming out early, and he didn't play a ton of games. But what he did in Oklahoma last year was allow is 0 sacks. So started every game, allowed 0 sacks. I'm okay with that. He's still kind of raw and developing with his footwork, his technique. But one thing the Dallas Cowboys do well is develop offensive linemen. You got Zach Martin, you got Tyron Smith, we had Travis Frederick. Just this in the last generation of players, we've had arguably three Hall of Famers right there. So coaching staff does a good job of coaching those guys up, and Tyler Guyton's going to need it. So it wasn't my first pick personally. I was a JPJ guy, but with a pickup that we'll talk about later, that will be moving over to center. this was fine. This was a good pick, and they got a plan for him, and I'm coming around on this one.
All right, so you're going with B plus,
Yep.
possibly A minus. You said.
Yeah, I'll stick with the B
Okay.
plus till I see him play.
Okay. B plus. All right. So Tyler Guyton for me, I'm gonna go C plus. C plus. I think he's got a lot of potential there, but I think there was more proven guys, um, like Grant Barton out of Duke that had played a ton of snaps at more snaps and a more developed player. Obviously, the Cowboys really like this Tyler Guyton. I didn't really get to see him a ton in college. But he only played one snap at left tackle last year. One. So if you're going to replace someone at left tackle and the guys only had one snap at left tackle, where there was other guys on the board that had plenty of snaps and that had played the position before, um, I would have probably went with him. If you're bringing Tyler Guyton in to kind of back up his first year and learn the role, obviously he's incredibly athletic. He's got a great body size. Um, I think that would have been the move. But if we're looking, we just passed on a Pro Bowler, legendary left tackle, and we're moving on to potentially start Tyler Guyton, which I don't know if that's going to happen or not. But if you're looking for a straight replacement and a guy that's going to be able to plug and play on your offensive line, and you draft a guy that has not played a ton of football, straight up did not play a lot of college football, um, yeah, I just can't go above a C for me. But obviously, all the things you said are legitimate. Cowboy Reg, they have done a great job developing offensive linemen these past few years. They see something in him that I don't see yet, and I hope I'm proven wrong. I hope he comes in and he's a fantastic guy. But I mean, the talent's definitely there. There's a high ceiling with him. I just worry about his floor, and I worry about early performance issues. I think it's going to take a couple years before he's developed, which is obviously normal. I mean, you don't get a lot of rookie offensive linemen coming in and you know are able to play at a Pro Bowl level. That's obviously not going to happen. But we didn't bring anyone in. We didn't re-sign our Pro Bowler, and we picked up a guy that didn't play a ton of snaps at that position. But we'll see. I mean, he
Yeah,
could
I
be
mean,
he could
I,
surprise us.
I'm hearing that Tyler Smith may shuffle over and be our left tackle, and then
Hmm.
Guyton could play right tackle right away and start right out of the gate. So, um, I understand your C plus grade on him being a left tackle, but let's wait and see what happens because he may not be the left tackle. So, therefore, you might change your grade.
We'll see. Yeah, he's gonna prove it. He's gonna have to prove it to
Yeah,
me. Obviously, I know he's super worried about impressing me, but
yeah, right.
I don't know, man. I just think, and I was kind of, we recorded the day after day one. I just didn't. I still don't love the pick, but they love it. They see what I think was good is obviously we talked about the trade a lot, but they had this guy from day one, I think, and they got their guy. So,
Yeah,
like I said, obviously they see something that I'm not seeing, and they, I guess, know more about this stuff than I do since it's not my full time job. But I'm still rolling with the C plus. He's gonna
yeah,
have
and
to kind
and
of.
you mentioned the trade, and I consider that a large part of the draft, the fact that we picked up another pick. So, rewind a little bit. In round one, first thing we did was make a trade. I'm giving that trade an A plus. I'm go A plus because we got a third round pick out of it that we didn't have. Didn't have a fourth round pick. Picked up an extra third round pick with the trade with Detroit. So thank you, Lions. We'll take that extra pick. That was an A plus right there. I'm going B plus on Tyler Guyton. You're going C plus. Um, you know, I'm okay with that. I understand left tackle. He may not be ready to protect Dak right out of the gate, rookie year, first game. But he might not have to. He might be right tackle. He might be a swing guy. We'll wait and see what
Yeah,
happens. Trust the
yeah.
coaches on that
This
one.
this offensive line is going to move around. We're going to see guys
Yeah,
play all kinds of different positions, like they have been for the past couple of years.
yeah. This
But
draft put us in a depth position where we went from being short on guys to having some depth at offensive line. I love that. So we got
for sure,
options.
yeah. So we'll see Tyler Guyton. You know, He's an imposing guy, though. I'll give him that. Big dude, like I said,
Hmm.
6'8". So, um, let's hope for the best. You're trying to cash in on your round one pick. So, moving on, let's go to round two. So, um, the Cowboys had the ninth pick in the third round. That was their traded pick. So that's the pick that they got from Detroit.
No, you
Sorry,
missed the
this
second
third
round.
round.
Yeah,
Second round, yeah, second round, 24th pick, Marshawn Nealon out of Western Michigan, edge rusher. I think this was kind of a surprising pick. I didn't expect I expected them to go linebacker or running back maybe in round two, and they surprised us all with Marshawn Nealon out of Western Michigan. Not a guy that I was looking at in this draft for the Dallas Cowboys, even with the 100 mock drafts that I created. I didn't pick him one time. Um, but let's see here. He's 6'3", 275, redshirt junior, 22 years old, out of Western Michigan. The Broncos, Cowboy Reds used to work with their defensive coordinator, right?
that's correct. Yeah. Uh,
Lou Esposito is still there.
Lou, I tell you a little quick story about Lou in Dallas. You were there, I believe, the night he did it. This guy's a beast, and he played a little arena football and played, Division I college football at Memphis. And he was actually their defensive player of the year and team captain his senior year. Went on and played a little arena ball and got injured, and he never got a shot in the NFL. But he's coaching and he's moving up the ranks, and I've been following his career well. And I worked with him at Division II school, St. Joe College in Indiana, for a few years. But going back to the story, we were out with we'll just call it a company function, and
Okay.
someone said something about, well, Lou's so strong, I heard he could tear a phone book in half. So we managed to somehow get a phone book into the room, and with one clean swipe in the first try, Lou ripped that phone book straight in half. So I can envision him out on the practice field when guys start mouthing off. He might pull out a phone book, rip it in half, and say, "What'd you say?" And that will be the end of the conversation.
They don't
But
make phone books anymore, but otherwise he probably would.
well, they're
I mean,
probably
I'm sure they make them.
thin. They're probably thinner now. There's
Yeah.
not as many numbers in it. But this was back in the day when they were still thick. But yeah, man, I'm like you. I was shocked with that pick, and I've had to really figure out who this guy is. And Western Michigan games are not on ESPN every week, so um, looks like he had some very impressive combine scores, and his athletic ability is through the roof. And they're just banking on that small school, big fish in a small pond type situation that he's going to come in and do some damage. I can't argue with any of his scores and numbers at the combine, and his height and his weight. Looks like he's a total package. So that one surprised me, and I'm not going to lie and say I agree with the pick at the time. But
Yeah.
again, like you said, there's guys, Will McLean and scouts and things like that are looking at these guys know a lot more than we do. So we're gonna trust them.
Allegedly.
Yeah,
They
I'm
get
just
paid
a
more than we do.
they
I think
definitely get paid more than us, but 6'3", 267. He's got the measurements that we need at that position. It's just going to be a wait and see situation with him. I've been very disappointed in our last few defensive tackle picks that we've taken high between Taco and Mozzie. And they didn't go University of Michigan, but they went Western Michigan on this. I don't know what it is with the
yeah.
state of Michigan and defensive linemen, but I guess we're going to keep trying until we get a hit. And right now we've got a couple strikes, but maybe this is the guy to do it. I'll be optimistic, but my grade on that one was a B minus, and that's a very
B
optimistic B
minus.
minus.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, we got some pretty good depth at edge now. So that's why I was kind of surprised with that pick. I mean, you're looking at um, obviously Demarcus Lawrence, Micah Parsons, Osa Digizua plays a little bit, interior and edge. You got Tyrus Wheat who's looked pretty decent coming in, kind of as a backup to Micah, and then you still have Fahoku and now you have Daryl Johnson, and now you have Marshawn Nealon. So I mean,
Are
I
they
guess you
listing
can.
Sam Williams? Are they listing him as a? What are they listing him
Yeah,
position wise?
yeah, my apologies. Sam Williams is in the mix too. So you're looking at one, two, three, four, five, six, seven edge guys. If you count Osa Digizua, eight. Nah, he plays more interior though. I wouldn't
Yeah,
count him. So
yeah,
you
he's a
got
good
you got
run stopper.
seven, you got seven edge guys now. So at least we lost some guys on the interior. They look we let Hankins walk. We let um who's our other guy there that we let walk over free agency?
Well,
Can't remember.
you got me tongue tied on that one. Um, yeah, they're who else went over to Washington? Just look at Washington's roster, and you
Obviously they
see all the
can't be
Cowboys.
so we lost Dorrance Armstrong,
Yeah, there
Dante
it is.
Fowler,
Yep, Dorrance
Jonathan
Armstrong. Yeah,
Hankins, Neville Gallimore.
Gallimore. Yep.
They're dead to us now, so we don't remember their names, but obviously
Yeah,
pretty pivotal
I
players
erased
there for the
them
Cowboys.
immediately. You get erased from my memory when you put a different helmet on, and if it's a different helmet in the NFC East, I never knew that
Yeah,
guy. I don't know who you're talking about.
you're as good as
Um,
dead.
you're dead to
But
me.
yeah, I
You
mean,
better
so
go to
they
the AFC. You go to the AFC, I'll still recognize that you're, Demarcus Ware style. Hey, we'll still put you in the Ring of Honor. You went over to the AFC,
yeah,
but
for sure.
you go within the division. You better hope they have a Ring of Honor because we're not bringing you back.
Absolutely. So yeah, so sorry, we went way past this, but I guess they did, well, they did need to at least pick up someone on the defensive interior. That's where I was thinking they would go first, but they decided to go with the edge guy. But he's got good run defense grades as well as pass rush grades.
Good.
He's super athletic. He's watching some of his highlights. He makes some pretty explosive plays. But it's like you said, you never know with a guy coming out of the MAC, a non-power five school. The MAC is still decent. They still played some decent teams last year. Power five schools like Syracuse, Iowa, and Mississippi State. Um, Not the best Power Five teams, but they're Power Five, and he played good games in that. His second best game of the year, according to PFF grades, was that Syracuse game. So I mean, it looks like he's still, even though he's a non-power five guy, he can play at the power five type level. He looks super athletic, makes some great plays from what I've seen in the highlights. I like that he's balanced. I like that he does good in pass rush, and obviously we need a run stopper too. I still kind of expect the Cowboys to maybe go after one more edge guy in free agency, but I'm gonna go with a B as well. I thought it was a decent pickup for the second round because I think if you go past that, you probably weren't getting a great edge guy. It just wasn't expected. I didn't really expect them to go with that position in the second round. And, you know, but obviously they decided they brought Zeke back, which we haven't even talked about yet. But, we kind of expected them to go probably Jonathan Brooks in the second round or maybe a linebacker in the second round. So it's more of a surprise grade to me. I really had to look into more of this guy and see what his deal was.
Yeah.
But he looks like a pretty good player, and a lot of people are high on him. They say he's super aggressive
Well,
guy,
he sold me,
hard
and they
worker.
put the microphone in front of him. They asked him what his playing style is, and I believe he said, "I like violence." So
Yeah,
I was sold.
that's a good sign. That's a good
I
sign.
like a guy who you like violence. Yeah, let me sign you up because it's going to be violent in the trenches. So I like that. So yeah, I'm
Absolutely.
sold on him. I'm still shocked with the pick, but you know, I find it ironic that he he looks and plays a lot like Demarcus Lawrence, and our Tyler Guyton looks and plays a lot like Tyron Smith. It's almost like this
Hey,
guy's
two
going to
guys where
replace this guy, and this
you
guy is
want to
going to replace
replicate
this
them.
guy. Yeah, that's exactly what they're
Absolutely.
doing,
I mean,
and I think
maybe
that fits
that's
our
yeah.
scheme. And I'm gonna make some other comparisons as we go down the line. I got another big one coming up next, but I'll let you get to it.
Okay. All right. So you went B minus with
Yeah,
Marshawn Nealon. I went B. So decent pick in the second round, just kind of a surprising pick. So third round, we had the ninth pick from Detroit, and we went with Cooper Beebe out of Kansas State. Listed as a guard, 6'3", 322, 4-year starter for Kansas State. He played in looks like 4-year start. Yeah. Played in 13 games last year, 942 offensive snaps. Played mostly at left guard, a little bit of right tackle, a little bit of left tackle. So it looks like he can move around a lot. I've heard this week that after the draft, they immediately started working. Our offensive line coach told him to start working at the center position. So he might
Yep.
play, he might be a center replacement as well. So obviously a very flexible guy, kind of a guy that we were hoping was still available. If you were paying attention to a lot of, Cowboys, what they were looking to do, we were hoping this guy was available in the later rounds. He was available in the third round. Um, Kind of maybe not expecting to go two offensive linemen in the first three rounds, but we had that extra pick, so that's what they did.
I love it.
So I think we're both gonna really like this grade. We like this guy a lot, Cooper Beebe. So give me your grade, Cowboy Reg.
It's a straight up A, man. That's an A. I mean, you're talking
Okay.
about the
Yeah.
Big 12 offensive lineman of the year. The top offensive lineman in the Big 12. We got him in the third round.
Yeah,
6'3",
it's huge.
322, corn-fed boy. Put him up front. Hey, put the ball between your legs. Dak will get it. That's it. That's all he's got to do. After that, he's good to go. The guy can block. The guy can protect. He can he can run block, pass block. He's got all the skills, and we can slide him over at guard. You're looking at the future Zach Martin right there. That's my comparison there. That's a young
Oh,
Zach Martin. Zach Martin retires in 2 years, which I anticipate he will. He'll slide over at guard, take Zach Martin's spot, and we'll get a different center. That's my hot take of the day right there. That's what's going to happen.
that's awesome. Hey, I like this pick too. I'm gonna go with an A minus just to not replicate Cowboy Reg, but um, this was my favorite pick in the draft just
Yep,
because after
me
watching his
too.
tape, seeing how flexible he is on the offensive line, he really moves downfield well. He he doesn't give up on his blocks. His run blocking looks fantastic as well as his pass blocking. Very physical dude. I think he's got a hard nosed attitude coming out of Kansas State. Is he from Kansas originally too, or
I'm not 100% sure on that, but I want to say he is.
yeah, he is. He's from Kansas
Yeah,
City. So, I mean,
yeah.
I think this is yeah, I mean, Kansas State has had a great football program. They're a hard-nosed team. Um, yeah, like you said, the Big 12 offensive lineman of the year. I mean, that's nothing to look past. I mean, that's huge, man. Anytime you could be the offensive lineman of the year in a Power 5 conference, that's massive.
I
I
mean, you
like him a
got
lot.
TCU's in there, Texas Tech's in there, Oklahoma, right? I mean, Big
UT,
12 offensive lineman of the year. UT still, yeah. They weren't in
yeah.
the SEC yet, right? That was,
No, 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 no.
yeah. So
Not till next year.
they're saying he's the best offensive lineman in the Big 12. That's unbelievable. I'm surprised he's still there in the third round. That's a good pick. My
Yeah.
favorite pick of the draft as well. No doubt about it.
Yeah, I think this is your guy, that and maybe, looking back on this, they did it right. I don't, who knows how these guys get mocked and graded and how they fall. Like this is a guy that I would look to pick up in the first round. Maybe he because he's a little small. I mean, he's still got good size though. He's 6'4", 335, but maybe he's a little smaller or maybe I think people are looking for tackles. Obviously, um there are other offensive linemen in the draft that were ranked higher than him, but I'm surprised, like you said, he went to the third round. This is a guy that I would have picked over Tyler Guyton personally, just because of his experience.
Yeah,
So,
no
um,
doubt about it. But I mean, they played it right because he was still there when they wanted to pick him. So
yeah,
they had their projections and their projections were correct. I think that somewhere along the way, when they wanted to pick a running back, their guy wasn't there, and I think that's what happened there. But here's a case where the guy was there in the third round, and they jumped on it. And again, thank you, Detroit Lions, for allowing us to pick the Big 12 Offensive Lineman of the Year. We appreciate that.
absolutely. So, a couple of A's going around for Cooper Beebe.
Yes,
Like him a
sir.
lot. Good
Yeah.
dude. Um, all right, so we kind of, we knew we needed a linebacker. Well, we kind of debated it whether we were going to pick up a linebacker um, in this draft. I thought we would, but obviously we brought in some free agents, so we weren't 100% sure. But the Cowboys made us happy, as you know. We said before on the podcast we are Notre Dame football fans as well. So in the third round, um, we ended up also going with Maris Leafau, linebacker out of Notre Dame. Um, Let me pull up his.
I'm going to tell you something I didn't know until I did a little research, but his cousin is Puka for the Rams. So, Puka Nakua got all that hype for his outstanding rookie year, and here's his cousin coming in. So
Yeah,
athletic, and I'm sure that didn't hurt his draft stock either, being from that family, having that DNA, that athletic DNA. So not
absolutely.
only was I excited about him being coming out of Notre Dame and filling a need at linebacker, but hearing that he's Puka's cousin also got me excited, thinking, man, we got an athlete right there. It runs in the family.
Yeah, 6'2", 239, 23 years old. Played a lot of football in Notre Dame. Obviously, we watch all the Notre Dame football games, so we know he's been in there a lot. Played in 12 games last year. Um, and yeah, I mean, I think right off the bat, he's a guy that you look at a lot of his highlights. He's a guy that can read runs early and explode and get into the backfield extremely early and deliver some big blows. He's a hard hitter. I think but he also plays pretty good coverage as well, which is good for us.
Yeah, his
Maybe not
coverage
the
grades are outstanding, very, very high.
yeah. So I mean that's a huge thing that you have to do. You think back to the Cowboys playoff loss. We hate to
Yep,
talk about it, but the playoff loss to the Packers last year. Think about how many passes that we got burned down the middle on. That's
yep.
when you need your linebackers to step in to coverage and cover those tight ends that are going down the middle. Plug up the middle. So I think he's going to be a huge help there. To me, he reminds me a lot of LVE. And you lost LVE, but
Yeah,
hey, early on in LVE's career, he was absolutely fantastic, and
yeah.
you
He
thought
had
the world of
awesome
him.
rookie year. He was probably team rookie of the year that year, and the expectations were moderate or low, and he exceeded them. So hopefully, we're looking at a replay of that with Leofau.
And he also plays a lot, maybe not as highly touted out of Notre Dame as the last linebacker we took out of Notre Dame, but Jalen Smith.
Yeah, yeah. Jalen, he had a couple nice years for the Cowboys. Just that injury bug slowed him down eventually, but
Yeah, I
yeah,
mean,
that'd be nice.
the you know, but LVE and Jalen Smith when they came in, we thought we were going to have the best linebacker, group in the NFL for the next 10 years, and unfortunately they got hurt. But he's not highly graded. I'll tell you that right now. There's definitely guys that you could have picked ahead of him that people would have
Edgerrin,
liked a
right?
lot more.
Edgerrin wasn't the Edgerrin still around? Because we picked
Yeah,
before the Packers and they grabbed him. So yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I was shocked with that
I was
pick. And
very, I was very, very surprised by this pick.
if I wasn't a Notre Dame fan, I probably would have been upset about the pick. But it's always nice to have one of your favorite, college players come up and play for your favorite pro team. So you get more years to cheer for them. But yeah, they're going to have to sell me on that. I give him a B
Yeah, Peyton
because of
Wilson was
his.
still
Yeah, there's another
cool
one. I
too.
give him a B because of his coverage, and I think if you say, like you said, if you look at that playoff game with Green Bay, there's the guy that could have made a difference in that game. The guys are running around the middle, and what did Jordan Love say on Micah Parsons' podcast? And Micah Parsons asked him point blank, how'd you guys run that score up on us? And he said, because you had safeties playing linebacker. So um, I think the Cowboys heard that and they addressed that by making this high linebacker pick, and not only picking a linebacker high, but picking a linebacker that's graded highest in coverage. So They're addressing that need. What happened in the playoffs? Well, let's address it right here and fix it. So that's what they did. The question is that the right guy to fill that need and to fix that problem? Well, we're hoping so.
Yeah. So Edgerrin Cooper was gone. Junior Colson got picked up. Trevin Wallace out of Kentucky, and then Maris Leafau went. So he was the
Okay.
fourth linebacker to be taken. But
So
these
I'm
grades.
corrected. You said Edger and Cooper was gone. My mistake there.
So maybe they liked him more. I don't know though, because there was Peyton Wilson on most places was graded the top linebacker in this class, and he went, but he had a lot of injury issues. But he went one, two, three, four, five,
Did he have
six, seven
off field
overall.
issues too? Wasn't there some off field red flags for him? Did he have recent DUI or something like that? Or am I
Oh, I
thinking of
didn't know
someone
about
else?
that.
Yeah, there's a reason
I don't
why
know. Maybe,
his stock dropped a little bit, and
but he should
I'm
be fine. I
asking
mean,
the
that was a
question
steal.
because I'm not 100% on that, but I know that his draft stock dropped, and I thought it was an off the field issue, but I could be wrong. But that's all we need, right? We're already in the spotlight, being the Cowboys. You're already in the spotlight. We don't need any guys with more baggage coming in, especially the rookies. They got enough pressure on them as it is.
Yeah, absolutely. But Maris Leafau, I'm gonna go. Where'd you go? B minus.
I went B.
Okay. I'm gonna go B minus just because I I don't know. I don't know how
Can't
well
argue.
because he kind of lacks some speed. I worry about him a little bit there. Um, and he's had a little bit of injury issues. Nothing major though. But like I said, I know I'm biased. But I've always liked Maris Leafau. He makes some pretty explosive plays. But he's a guy that might give up a few plays here and there in exchange for some more explosive plays. That's what I remember the most about him from watching him a lot at Notre Dame. He'll surprise you. He'll come up with this explosive play, but maybe miss a tackle here and there on the run but he covers well. I think he lacks a little bit of speed, but overall, here's what I'll say: like whenever your team doesn't take the projected pick, or there's a few guys that are graded above that pick, they see something in that player that the experts or ESPN or PFF doesn't. So I think this is a guy that they knew would be available and they wanted to go with him. Maybe it wasn't their first pick because maybe that was Edgerrin Cooper, but he was gone. But they obviously saw something in Maris Leafau that they liked, and they took him early. So whenever your team takes someone early, like they did with Tyler Guyton, same kind of thing there. They see something that's going to fit the team that they like about this guy. So you kind of have to trust that a little bit. Um, but yeah, we're going to add some depth to the linebacker position. Hopefully it works out well. We'll be obviously really rooting for him because, hey, like I said, when your favorite college player or when your favorite college team, one of their players gets to play for your favorite NFL team, it's pretty special. So um, let's move. Do we have? Oh shoot, hold on. Like
We're
I said, y'all, if you have any questions, please feel free to drop them in. Let us know what you think about some of the Cowboys picks.
Yeah, we didn't have a fourth round pick, so we're going right into round 5 now.
Yep,
Kalen Carson.
I have it up.
Or
I'm
yeah,
gonna keep going around.
another pick that kind of surprised me, but you know, with the uncertainty with Stephon Gilmore and he's still out there, they could still sign him any day. But I think he's still hoping for more money. I assume he's hoping for more money. He's still there. He's still sitting there as a free agent corner. So I don't think the Cowboys are willing to risk what's going to happen with him. So we got a corner in round 5, which I didn't see that coming. I figure we pick up a corner late, 7th round, something like that. But they went a little bit higher. Another guy that I've had to go back and do a little research on. Um, we did play as Notre Dame fans. We did watch him play Wake Forest this year, so we did get to see him. But yeah, I'll let you talk about him a little bit before I give my grade. But that's just a little bit about him right there.
Okay, so yeah, Kate, what is it? Kayleen?
Oh, it's
Is that his first
Kalen.
word?
K or it's
Kayleen?
Caelen. I just say Kalen,
Kayleen?
but it could be Kayleen.
Kalen, yeah, no, I think it's Kalen.
Kalen.
I think
Yeah,
it's
it's
Kalen. I think
Kalen.
you're right.
It's
Kalen
Kalen Carson.
Carson, out of Wake Forest, 6 foot, 195 junior, 22 years old. Um, let's see, played 3 years at Wake Forest. Played in 11 games last year. Mostly played on the outside. Played a little bit of slot. Um, but overall played on the outside. He isn't the fastest guy, doesn't have great man coverage grades, has decent zone coverage grades. What he does have really well among corners, though, is a great. Um, I really didn't like this pick until I looked more into his run defense. He's a super physical guy. I remember when we were watching the draft together, they were showing some highlights, and he can really deliver some huge blows when it comes
Yeah.
from a corner position. So I would expect him to play on the inside a little bit, maybe play a little slot, kind of back up Jordan Lewis, kind of play more like, the Jordan Lewis role and play that slot position a little because he's not a big corner and he doesn't have great speed. So I don't expect him to play on the outside a lot. Plus you have Trevon Diggs and Deron Bland playing on the outside, so you don't really need him. Um, so I expect him to come in. Maybe this is a guy they expect to come in on some third down situations where, third and short situations where you're kind of expecting the other team to run the ball, and this is a great run stopper at the corner position, but also he can obviously do some coverage because he's a corner. So maybe you bring him in on a 3rd and 3 where you don't know whether the team's going to run or pass. But he's super physical. That's obviously something they like, and that's something I love out of the corner position. And maybe he can come in on some corner blitzes and stop the run. We'll see. If he's a
Yeah,
run
and
stopping threat,
the thing
that's good to have
the
on the field.
the thing I'm reading too is his highest grades are in special teams. So, if
Yeah.
they do
Okay.
plan on, yeah, that's in we got a new kickoff this year too. So that might play into, he's a physical guy and he's played special teams. So maybe that's where they can really use him his rookie year as they develop him as a corner in the future. They
Oh,
can use him on special teams. Now, Gilmore's not a guy that plays special teams. So if they re-sign Gilmore at some point, Carson fits in well because he's the guy that can play special teams and still add depth to your corner. So like we said earlier, there's a lot going on when they make these picks, and that's something to consider. Is your guy going to play special teams? You sign these older free agents. The answer is always no. They're not going to play special teams. So you need a couple guys like this on the roster. So
yeah,
um,
generally rookies, younger guys are yeah, they're gonna be thrown out there and
yeah, and his
hopefully he's
special
right.
team,
He's gonna
his
he's gonna
grades
lay
are
down some
good.
hits, man.
Yeah, and his
And
grades are good, and so yeah, that's exactly what we need. So I gave it a B because I thought adding depth to the corner room was a positive thing, but I see some areas of his game that need improvement. So, I like what they did there by putting a guy in that can play special teams and has some upside to him. But I don't think if he's our starting corner week one, I'm a little nervous. So I'm
no,
not going to
that's
give
not
him
gonna
a
happen.
I can't give
Yeah.
him an A there, unless we have injuries and we have to put him in. So I'm going to go B. The more I look at it, the more I talk about it, I probably go B minus. I'll go B minus. I went B on my original grade, but I'll go B minus.
Yeah, I'm with you. I mean, this is a guy that's gonna like you said, play a lot of special teams. Our cornerback room is so deep right now that this is not a guy that's gonna come in and start right away, but he looks like kind of he's a different type. That's why I like this pick more is because he's a different type of corner. It's not like they picked another Deron Bland or another Trevon Digg. They didn't pick a ball hawk. Um, but any guy you bring in with Al Harris is going to improve, right? So maybe he improves in those areas. But I mean, bringing in a physical corner that's good at stopping the run, that likes to deliver hard hits, he doesn't another thing that people like about this guy is he doesn't miss tackles, which is, hey, that's fantastic. Especially, I mean, how many times will you throw your control or your remote at the TV because someone on the outside, like a corner, has missed a tackle? Like that'll drive you insane. So having a guy like this in there, I think is nice. having him on the team. Who knows? This is a guy that you're in the fifth round now, so he might not even make the
Yeah.
team. But
Well,
um,
looking at he's in the 57th percentile in speed at 4.48. Trevon Diggs ran a 4.42, so you're not Diggs, but you're in the 57th percentile. That means you're in the top half. The
that's
other
not
thing
bad.
is
Yeah,
he started 36 games at Wake Forest. 36.
yeah.
This guy's experienced. So yeah, I see what they did there, and it's not a bad pick. It's not a bad pick at all. Above average pick. B minus is above average. So I'm happy with that grade.
I'm gonna go. Yeah, I'm gonna go ditto on that. I'm gonna go B minus. I think I wanted initially went C because I thought any cornerback you take in the fifth round with our cornerback room would be kind of silly, but he seems different. He just has a different style of play than most corners. That's why I kind of like him. But like you said, who knows? We'll see how he plays, how much he plays next year. And Wake Forest has been pretty down. Well, they were definitely down last year. So um, some of his stats may look a little ugly because they were just kind of getting torched all year. They just weren't a good football team. But I don't mind the pick. At first, I was, why are we taking a corner? But looking more into him, I like how he's a different style of corner than what we're used to
Yeah,
seeing. So, hopefully, like I said, I think he will make the team because I think he's going to play kickoff and he's gonna light some guys up. I think that's what he wants to do. So, um,
good.
you ready to move on?
Yeah, let's go. I'm excited to talk about this receiver.
Okay. So I know a lot of y'all probably watch Southeast Missouri football like we do. We're big Southeast Missouri football
Oh
fans in the
yeah,
Sunset Star
I got a
podcast.
subscription.
If anyone, I don't even know how you watch those games. If anyone that is watching right now has seen a Southeast Missouri football game live, either on TV or in person, give us a comment right now. I will send you a Cowboys jersey.
Oh
Um,
boy,
I'll send
better
you.
be careful.
I swear to God, if you provide proof that you've been to a
Yeah, I
Southeast
would say
Missouri
you better
football
ask
game,
for proof because I don't. Everybody's gonna be.
I
Ah,
will
I'm
I
I'm
will
a fan.
I will send you a personalized jersey of
There you go,
Ryan Flournoy? Florney?
Flournoy.
Flournoy. Flournoy.
He's a
Yeah,
freak, man. This guy's an athletic freak. This is
let's hear
what
it. Tell us
this
about him.
is. This is the combine poster boy right here. You come from a small school. You show up to the
Yeah,
combine and you show out. Okay, 4.4, 40-yard dash. Yeah, that's pretty good. Um, 39 and a half vertical. That's 89th percentile at the combine. Okay, only 11% of the receivers there jumped higher than him. Okay, 132-inch broad jump. That's a 94th percentile. When you're talking
damn.
only 6% of the receivers at the combine have a better score than him. 19 reps on the bench, 83rd percentile. Okay. And one stat that they didn't list, which I learned this week listening to another podcast, was he doesn't drop the ball. He at 97th percentile in college football for drops. If this man touches the ball, he's coming down with it. He's 6'1", 202, um, fast, strong, athletic ability through the roof. Yeah, small school. Coach him up. Coach him up. We got room in the receiver room. I don't think he's going to be our wide receiver three right away, but hey, we'll see in the preseason when Trey Lance is throwing him the ball. Let's see what he can do. Another reason
Okay.
why I'm excited for the preseason to see this guy play. His scores are through the roof. I'm excited about him. That might be the sleeper pick right there. If it's not the sleeper pick in the draft and you cut him, big deal. You draft him low. I don't think that's going to happen. I think this guy might show up and show out. We might have something here. I love this pick.
Really?
Yeah. I mean,
Did you give me a grade?
I gave him a horrible grade. I gave him a C plus in my article a couple weeks
Oh,
ago,
that's not too bad.
but I needed to do some research. Now that I've done the research, I moved that up to a B plus. That's a B plus in the sixth round to get. You heard the scores, all right? You're talking about the guys that are ahead of him in those scores. They're first and second round picks. So
Yeah.
this guy drops to the sixth round because he went to Southwest Missouri. That's what Southwest Missouri State. Okay.
Southeast Missouri State
Southeast
Penitentiary.
Missouri State. Shit. I mean, we'll just throw out a few more schools. We don't know where he came from, but all I know is he showed up to the combine and he's a freak. He's an absolute athletic
East.
freak. So let's
This guy's
put him
coming
on the
out of
field.
East Southwestern Missouri State
Yeah,
Technical Institute of Technology and
there
Culinary
it is.
Studies.
I think that's where
Um,
Bobby Boucher went too. I think same school. But yeah, I mentioned
he's a mud dog.
I mentioned in my article that I would have rather see him take a running back here. That's why I gave him a C plus. So,
Until we picked up Zeke.
I
So
shouldn't. Yeah, that was before we picked up Zeke. So I shouldn't have been that harsh on the man because it's not his fault that we chose. We didn't choose a running back. Not his fault at all. This guy can play. His athletic ability through the roof. I like the pick now. The more I look at it, I like the pick. Let's see what he can do. It's a win-win situation.
oh, all right. Yeah, this one's tough because yeah, it's like you said, 3.2% of catchable passes thrown his way were drops. 3.2%? That's
Yeah,
insane.
yeah,
I don't care
that's what I'm talking about.
what level
Yeah,
of football you're playing. That is an insane stat.
he's right over
And
there.
yeah,
Hey, if he could touch the ball, you have a 90%, 97% chance of him bringing it down. I mean, hey, there you go, Dak. You don't have to be perfect when you're throwing to this guy. Just don't throw it to the guy in the Green Bay jersey, okay? But hey, this could be something. We could have something here with this guy, or we don't. But it's sixth round, so why not? I like the pick.
um, so this is what I'm going to say. I think this is a slot guy. I don't have the
Could be.
stats up. I don't know how many times he's played slot in his career, but I'm assuming that's how they're looking at him. Even though he's a bigger guy, like he's not um, physically, he's a decent size at wide receiver, but um, at 6'2", 197. But I think he's a guy you play in the slot. He doesn't drop the ball. Maybe third and short situations, you put him in, and he's obviously pretty physically gifted. So I'm going to give it a C plus, just because I didn't know if we needed another wide receiver. But yeah, like you said, I think it's, and yeah, I guess being a little too hard on him because you're really convincing me, Cowboy Reg. And you've
I,
done your grades
well, let
before,
me
and I'm
throw
kind of
one
doing it
more
on the
at
fly.
you before you reconsider your grade. I'm going to throw one more at you. The relative athletic scale that they use after they input all the combine scores, all the scores in at once, on a scale to 1 to 10, 9.88. That's what
Wow.
kind of athlete this guy is. Now they're grading professional athletes. We're not talking about a guy off the
Yeah.
street. We're grading professional athletes on a scale to 1 to 10. This guy is a 9.88. I mean, if that guy's sitting there, when you go to pick him, you're picking him, okay? First
I
team,
like that.
first team all conference, and very important. This means a lot to me. He was named team captain by his peers his senior year. He's team captain on that team, so that tells you a lot about the guy as a human being and as a leader. So I hope I'm convincing you because I'm convincing myself. The more I read about the guy, draft night. What are we doing? Who's this guy?
Yeah,
Okay,
yeah.
you do a little homework. You look at his combine scores. You look what he did in school. Hey, that's a good pick for the sixth round. That's a great pick.
Yeah, I'll go B minus. I'll go B minus
Yeah, throw him
because I
up
like
there.
his physicality. Okay.
Yeah,
But I think, well, actually, we have some differing um, physicals here. NFL.com list him at 6'1", 202. PFF's got him at, what I say, 6'2", 197. So 6'1". Yeah, I mean, I think this is a slot guy. Well, I mean, if he's athletic enough, though. But, you've seen a lot of guys come out of the slot that go to small schools like this and that have just played a ton of football. And you got Cooper Cup that played at what's his school in Eastern Washington, right?
yeah,
You have
yeah.
Adam
Cooper
Thielen that
Cup. He grew up right down the street from where I grew up. Now we're a lot different in age, but yeah, he's a Southeast Washington State guy where I ended up going to school. So Yeah, he's he's a homeboy. I know the
Yeah,
Seahawk fans always hoped that he would go there, but didn't work out or hasn't worked out yet.
yeah. I mean, Adam Thielen went to I don't even know, but it's Division II school, played
How
lacrosse and
about Jerry
football.
Rice? Jerry Rice went to a small school, right? Jerry
Yeah,
Rice,
so I
all
mean,
the goat. So sometimes you gotta find these athletes, man. And I think they found an athlete there. So it's a win-win. Like I said, doesn't work out. He's your sixth-round pick. You play some
I'm gonna have to
special
watch.
teams.
I'm gonna have to try and find some tape on this guy to look at him more. But yeah, I think you've convinced me, Cowboy Reg. But again, this is a guy that they obviously had their finger on. I think after the combine that they must have liked. So
Hmm.
you pick him up in round 6 with that athletic ability. It's pretty good.
Yeah,
I
the
like it a
funny
lot.
thing is, Mike McCarthy wasn't at the combine, but Mike McCarthy was at Notre Dame's pro day. So he goes and finds the linebacker, and then Will
Yeah,
McLean and Jerry and Steven are looking at this Floriny guy in the combine. Go, hey, this is an athletic freak. So it's a win-win. They worked as a team when they made these picks. So you know, not happy with last year's picks. We can make a whole episode on that. But this year, I could see the theme. They're going with athletes and they're filling holes. They're building
yeah,
offensive line. They're filling holes where people left on the offensive line. They're adding depth in the where they needed depth, defensive line, corner, wide receiver. And when they get to those picks in the lower rounds, they're going for athletes. They're going for the best athlete, and then they're going to coach him up. Hey, if we don't need this guy to play his rookie year, why don't we get the best athlete and coach him up? I like that.
absolutely. It's a pretty good pick out of there in was that round 6?
Yeah,
Yeah.
round six, man.
So here we go, round 7. Let's finish it off with the last two picks. So we had uh, Nathan Thomas
Yep.
out of the University of Louisiana Raging Cajuns. Hey,
University of Louisiana Lafayette. Not
what
not
did I say?
just yeah, not the University of Louisiana, Louisiana Lafayette, I believe.
Is it?
Well, now this says Louisiana, so I got two different.
I think it's Louisiana.
I got
Maybe
one.
no, it's in Lafayette, but
Yeah, yeah. Okay,
it's
okay.
not Lafayette like what did
Well,
we used to
hey, I'm
say?
from Northern Indiana, man. 25
Lafayette.
years in Northern Indiana. That's Lafayette, Indiana. West
Hey,
Lafayette or Lafayette.
I
So
live down here. I live down here
yeah.
right next to just a few hours away, and it's
Hey, you know what we need
Lafayette.
to do? You need to call Brian Kelly because he speaks Southern now. Brian Kelly will let us know the correct pronunciation,
uh oh boy.
right? I mean, the
How did
day
he
he
get
showed
brought up?
up, he started speaking Cajun, right? He's Cajun
Raging
now.
Cajun, babe.
He
Raging Cajun.
grew up in Michigan, but he's raging Cajun. So Nathan
Yeah, this
Thomas,
is
huh?
this is the well, I haven't looked it up, but I'm almost 100% sure this is the University of Louisiana.
Yeah, I
University of Louisiana at Lafayette.
there you go, man. That's see.
I don't know.
Yeah, they are like I
You
said.
you could call it UL Lafayette. I
Yeah,
call it Louisiana.
when
I'm
I
a
go
yeah,
to
big Raging Cajun guy.
I go to DallasCowboys.com and they say Louisiana, and I click on his name, and then there's a full layout of his resume, and it says Louisiana Lafayette. So, you know,
Yeah.
definitely the Cajuns, though. I can see that on his helmet. He's a
This is
raging
what
Cajun.
needs to be discussed and debated, not what this guy's gonna do on the football field, but where
No,
the hell did he play college football?
and how do you pronounce the school? That's the other one.
Well, at least he has an easy name, Nathan Thomas. So, um,
Yeah,
all right, they picked him up in round 7, 6'5", 334, redshirt senior, 22 years old. This guy played his entire college career at left tackle. Um, I like this pick better than the Tyler Guyton pick. I'm not gonna lie. I like this. I like this pick quite a bit. This guy picking him up in round 7. I'm a big fan. I give this pick a and I say that by saying they obviously knew what they were doing here because Tyler Guyton is the guy where you have a really high ceiling, his athletic ability, his size. You expect over the next couple years he's really going to develop and he has super high ceiling. This guy doesn't have as high of a ceiling, but he has a higher floor. because he's played so much football at that position. His tape looks good. He's got good grades on pass block and run block. I'm going to give Nathan Thomas a B plus. I think this is a solid pick because you went back and you obviously knew that there's going to be some guys in the offensive line that are going to play all around different positions, and you picked up a guy that has played strictly left tackle late in the draft. You're not putting a lot of pressure on him to come in and play that position, but this is a guy that has experience at left tackle that can be brought in, and he's going to just kind of work for it in preseason and training camp and try to make the team. But this is a guy that didn't. He wasn't. You look at his 2021 and 2022 um, years of playing college football at the University of Louisiana Lafayette. This probably isn't a guy that's going to go pro if you look at his stats and kind of how he's producing. But he really had a good year last year that projected him into you know becoming an NFL left tackle, and I'm optimistic about this pick. I think this is a guy that's going to surprise a lot of people. I like this pick a lot. Like I said, I'll say it again. I like it better than the Tyler Guyton pick. Expect this guy to beat out if they were to put him up against Tyler Guyton at left tackle, straight up. Who's better, Tyler Guyton or Nathan Thomas at left tackle at the beginning of training camp? This is a guy that beats out Tyler Guyton at left tackle. I truly believe that. Um, will Tyler Guyton potentially be a better offensive lineman in a few years? Possibly. But this is a guy I think right away that's going to be your best rookie at left tackle right away. If the other guys don't really work out, this is a guy that can come in and play. So I like this
Yeah.
pick quite a bit. Giving it a B plus.
Yeah. I mean, for this round, seventh round, you can't expect a better player than that. So, I mean, I gave him, I believe I gave him an A on that pick, but I noted, hey, I'm giving him an A because it's a seventh round pick. I'm not giving him an A because I think he's better than Tyler Guyton, like you might
Okay,
think he is. I still don't think he is, but for
that's
the
fine.
pick in the round that they got him, that's a good pick.
Yeah, I like it a lot. But we'll see. Time will tell. You want to
Absolutely.
move on to our last pick?
Yeah, Rodgers, not
All right,
Aaron
so
Rodgers.
the last pick in the Cowboys draft in the seventh round, the overall pick 230, 244, 244 was Justin
Yeah,
Rogers, defensive interior lineman out of Auburn. Um, he's coming in at 6'3", 346, pretty big body dude. Sounds like similar to Mozzie Smith to me.
yeah,
So he looks like a similar guy, like similar body type. How tall is Mozzie Smith?
This guy's 6'2.5". I'm not sure Mozzie.
He's six, so they're the same height
Yeah,
and roughly the same weight. So this is a thick body guy that you put on your defensive interior. That he's supposed to clog up lanes. Obviously, that has not worked out with Mozzie Smith, but looks like they're trying it again. And this guy is not highly rated at all. He does not have good grades.
no, he has his best grades are in his weight, 92 percentile. His hand size, 11-inch hands, is 97% hand percentile. Everything else is below 50%. All his other grades.
Yeah.
But again, you're talking about an eighth round pick. So when you get down, or a seventh round pick, I apologize,
No, that's all right.
244th pick in the draft, you're not going to get, top 5, 10 percentile. Those guys are all gone. So, you know, just another big body coming out of the SEC. I mean, you're playing your starter in the SEC. So, you're up there, playing Georgia and you're playing Alabama and, hey, these guys are probably more NFL ready than the guy coming out of Southeast Missouri State. But his numbers aren't fantastic. So, hey, he's
No,
known his number one thing on his scouting report is he's a run stopper. So, you're not going to see these huge grades because he's not rushing the passer and jumping up in the air and making these athletic moves. He's stopping the run. We need somebody to stop the run. This could be a great pick. Uh, Jonathan Hankins replacement, Gallimore replacement, somewhere in the middle of there. It might take a year or two to develop him, but he's got the size. He's got, he comes out of a school where they're experienced in the high level of competition. I don't think you could go wrong with picking that big body out of the SEC in the seventh round. So I'm good with that pick. Gonna give it a B plus just for where it's at. Seventh round, 244. What else are you gonna get at that point? So the expectations
Quarterback.
there are low. So I go above average on that one because the expectations were low.
Yeah, this one's tough. I mean, what are you going to do with your seventh round pick? I don't know. I mean, obviously, I mean, you might need someone on the defensive interior because of how bad Mozzie Smith has proved to be his first year. So you bring in another guy that hopefully is they like this body type. Um, and the same, like you said, with Jonathan Hankins, that's who you're trying to overall replace, who was a big addition last year and in a big piece of the Cowboys team when it came to stopping the run game. So you bring another guy in, you're just kind of trying to strike gold with this guy because, like you
Yeah,
said, he has good size. Like you said, he played against great competition in the SEC, but not a great SEC team at all, and hasn't been the only. Some of the positives I would say was he started in every game this past three seasons. So he's a consistent guy. He's not struggling with injury. Played a lot of football in college, but doesn't look like he had great success. Auburn's defense is also, I mean, they just haven't been that good. So I don't really know. I mean, this is just kind of you pick up this guy because it's a position you need to get some production at, and he might surprise you. Um, I'm just gonna go this a flat C just because it's average. I don't know. I
yeah,
mean, you needed this pick, and you don't know anyone you pick in the seventh round. I don't know how you give an A to any team that picks someone up in the seventh round because these are all guys that are going to be fighting for their lives to
yeah,
stay on the team. These are practice squad guys that you're looking at. Um, if these guys make the team, it's a huge win going this late. So this is a guy that they might keep around in the organization for a few years and see if he's able to get any type of production. So who knows? But I just don't. It's too early to tell with a guy like this going in the seventh round. So I'm gonna give him a flat C, just average. It's a
yeah.
decent pick. We'll
Can't
see.
argue with that. Can't argue
Yeah.
with that.
So that's the Cowboys draft overall. So can you give me an overall score, or not an overall score, but a grade? Since the theme today is grades, can you give me a one through not a one, an A through F grade wise for the Cowboys draft?
Yeah, I scored a B plus, above average. Anytime you want to make me happy, you select lineman, offensive lineman, defensive lineman,
Yeah.
offensive lineman, defensive lineman. Look, I'm an old school guy. Okay, I lived through those powerhouse teams from the '90s. What do you think made those teams click? It was the offensive line and it was the defensive line. That's what made those teams click. And you hear people, oh, Emmett's not the GOAT. He had the offensive line. He had the offensive line. Well, I'm down. That's good, right? That's why you make that a knock against them. Hey, that's great. We had an offensive line. Trying to rebuild that great wall. That's the way I look at it is time to rebuild that great wall of Dallas. You get guys like Beebe, you get guys like Guyton, and you rebuild that wall in offense and defensive line. So I don't need Worthy. Gosh, I'm so glad we didn't draft a guy like that. Oh, he's fast. Let's draft him. You know what? It doesn't matter how fast you are when your quarterback's getting hit on his second step back. So you need to
Right.
have a strong line. This sets us up for the future. It fills the holes this year. Everybody wants, hey, we're all in. We're all in. We're not all in. We're building right now.
Yeah.
I think they're gonna surprise a lot of people and be a good team next year. But I'm not feeling Super Bowl vibes because I think we're a little bit of a reloading. I wouldn't say rebuilding, but reloading that offensive line where we guys are getting older Hey, look, Tyron Smith was old, man. He's either going to retire or go
Yeah.
make some money, and he decided he's going to go make some money. It's a great loss because of what a great player he has been. But do you really think that he's going to do that for another 3 to 5 years? There's no way. Same thing with Zach Martin. I love Zach Martin, Notre Dame guy, Hall of Famer, future Ring of Honor. He's done everything that you can ask an offensive guard to do, but he's getting older. Got a lot of wear on those tires, and they brought in Cooper Beebe to replace him. I think they made some good moves. I was almost tempted to go A, but there's a couple needs that we didn't fill, in my opinion. So I dropped that, and I'll give them a B plus overall.
Yeah, this is an interesting draft. It really didn't. What I like about it is you didn't have any, like you said, the Xavier Worthy pick, maybe just like any big like sexy picks. Everyone's like, oh, that guy's gonna be this and that. Like there's, I look at this draft and I don't see a lot of expectations for these guys,
Which is
which is
great.
good news. Um,
Yeah,
the only issue is like if you would have paired this draft with a stronger free agency, we've been
right.
talking something different here. The issue here is like since the Cowboys did not do much in the offseason when it comes to free agency, you might ask a little more out of these guys than they should be. But I think these are
Hmm.
all good guys that you should have in your organization. And with that being said, my number one worry is the first round pick, Tyler Guyton. I know I've talked about him a lot in this podcast, but this is a guy that I think can be really, really good. But like if you try to rush things with him, I really worry about that pick. Like if
Yeah.
you want him to come in and maybe he shocks me and is able to come in and play great football right away. But
Tyler
I
Smith
think
was. We didn't expect a lot of
it's
Tyler
true.
Smith, right?
It's true.
He he's amazing. He arguably the best offensive lineman we have right now, right? I mean, we
Yeah.
want to give Zach Martin for what he's done in his career, but he dropped a little bit last year in his grades. Tyler Smith is probably the strongest offensive lineman we have right now, and people were saying the same thing about him. You can't start him as a rookie. He's not ready. He's nasty, man. He was nasty as a rookie. He's pancaking people. So
Yeah.
um, it can be done. I expect Beebe. I expect Cooper Beebe to come in and do some serious damage, not just
Yeah. He's gonna play some
line up.
football this year for
Yeah,
sure.
and I think he could be dominant. I really do. I think the more I look at him and watch his film, and read his measurements, his size, his athletic ability, and look at what he did in college in the Big 12. And no shame in the Big 12 now. Don't sleep on the Big 12. They had a
No.
TCU in the national championship 2 years ago. Don't tell me they didn't belong because they won a playoff game to get there. So don't get on them comments. TCU shouldn't even have been there. Well, if they shouldn't have been there, why did they win the first round? Hello. So, yeah, that's a whole episode there. I'm good with these big boys up front. Keep feeding them corn and keep drafting them. That's my philosophy.
Yeah. So I'm gonna go with a few things here. I think the guy that plays the most snaps next year is gonna be Cooper Beebe. I think the
Absolutely.
guy that um, has the surprise guy, that maybe the overlooked guy, I would go with Marshawn Nealon. I think he's gonna play some snaps as well and maybe create some highlights. Um, and hey, maybe I'm with you there on the. Well, I don't know if Marshawn Nealon will be a surprise guy because you pick him in the second
Yeah.
round, but I think either for me, I like Nathan Thomas as your surprise guy. I think he's a guy that might make the team and come in if someone's injured and maybe get some production. I think with you, you're expecting Flournoy to maybe play some snaps next year. That would be huge. Um, I think we're expecting Kalen Carson to come in and play some special teams. I don't know. I think I have a lot of questions on Marist. I have a lot of questions on Tyler Guyton. I don't think Justin Rogers makes a team. That's pretty much
Yeah.
my short summary of the draft.
I don't know. Justin Rogers. I'm going to go out. I'm going to say he does make the team, but I don't think you're going to see him on the field. I
Okay.
think that's a project guy right there. Um, But just the fact that he played at Auburn in SEC and he was a starter tells me there's something there. He also, I read that he kind of got not run out of Kentucky, but he transferred out of Kentucky because they got a defensive tackle that's supposed to go top 10 in the draft next year. So that's why he left and went to Auburn and never really got things rolling big time in Auburn. But there might be some potential there. So I'm going to say he makes a team, but we might forget about him because he might be a practice squad guy or just a depth guy that's not in uniform on Sundays, but he's still on the team,
Okay.
and maybe he develops and he plays in the future.
Yeah, I think it's just a practice squad type
Yeah,
guy, but hey, there it is. There's our draft grades. This is a good show, Cowboy Reg. I appreciate all the insights and check out that article that Cowboy Reg wrote about his draft grades. Um, we're gonna keep
yeah, and
pushing
I
out
did
episodes.
I did a special piece on Cooper Beebe, my favorite pick of the draft. I think your favorite pick of the draft as well. So
Yeah,
did a
100%.
special piece on him, and check that out. It's on my X page. You can always find it. You can DM me if you can't find it, and I'll send it to you.
All right. We'll stick around for a couple minutes if anyone has any questions or comments, and then it's time to head out of here. Zeke
Yeah,
is
and
back.
Zeke
The
is
only thing I'll
back.
say left is Zeke is back. Cowboy Reg called it.
Called it in March. We went back to the episode to find it, and it was in March that um, that I said Zeke is the top available, top available running back in free agency at that point. All the other guys were
Yeah,
gone, and I say, hey, we got to get over the fact that it's Zeke and look at who the top available running back in free agency is, and that was him. I think $2 million guaranteed is just chump change now. It's nothing. 3 million with incentives. So bring him into the running back room. I expect Rico to be RB1 and Zeke to be rotating in. That's my prediction.
yeah, definitely interesting. I don't know how I feel about it, but I just the whole you're willing to pay a guy and not be on your team anymore because he was been so bad, and you have this future in Tony Pollard, and then all of a sudden you let Tony Pollard walk and then bring Zeke back. It seems like a blunder on the front office standpoint. I think that was a huge
Running back
failure on
by
the front
committee.
office.
You got to look at it this way. It's running back by committee. It's not Zeke versus Pollard. It's not Rico had a higher average than Pollard. We could talk, Rico, that's my guy right there. Rico is going to be the surprise player of the year. I'm calling it right now. Rico can catch out of the backfield and run. Rico can power the ball forward. Rico can make moves. Rico is going to be the RB1, and Zeke's going to be his, rotating guy. And he's going to be a presence in the locker room and a team captain, which we needed. Zeke can pass protect. Zeke's like a quarterback when he's in the backfield. If you give him the ball 20 times a game, we're losing. I'm sorry. He's got too
Yeah,
much wear on the tires for that. But 4th and 1, and we need a first down. I'm very comfortable letting Zeke run behind Zach Martin or Cooper Beebe and get that 1 yard where Pollard wasn't getting us that short yardage last year. So bringing in Zeke and making Rico, who again had a higher average per carry than Pollard did last year, and hey, Rico was a large part of our offense. Rico wasn't a guy that just came in off the bench to get a couple carries. I think he was averaging 7 point something carries a game, which is significant when you look at the overall. Back is getting 15, 20 carries a game, so he's right up there, maybe half of that. So expect more out of Rico and expect Zeke and whoever else we decided. Freeman. Freeman is another guy, a free agent they picked
yeah,
up, who's got a nice yards per carry average, and you know he's been around the league for a while. I feel confident in him, and I'm not going to say Deuce is the guy, but I'm sure Deuce will get another shot, see what he can do in the preseason. And Malik
mhm,
Davis is in the running back room. I was high on him 2 years ago. He kind of got shuffled aside because Rico outplayed him and Deuce outplayed him in the preseason, but Malik's still on the roster for a reason. I think they believe in Malik. He played in Miami. He was a nice back, and expect him to get the ball more this year as well. Running back by committee. Don't sleep on running back by committee. Somebody's always going to have fresh legs. That might be the way of the future in the NFL. Maybe we're just ahead of the curve. We'll find out.
Oh man, that is very optimistic. Okay,
I'm
yeah, we'll see.
optimistic.
I
You know
know.
me,
Yeah, I'm very. I
but
don't
I'm
know.
not. I'm
The running back room. I'm pessimistic on the running back room.
Yeah,
I think it's.
people
Yeah,
they
I think
ask
it's
me
bad. I think it's
why
bad.
am I optimistic? Because I've seen 5 Super Bowls in my lifetime. I've seen how this works, and it goes in cycles, and it's been a long time. But look, it doesn't have to be we win the Super Bowl next year. You get these draft picks playing, and you get them improving. I always use the Green Bay Packers as an example. They kicked our butt in the playoffs. They had like 11, I think they had 9 rookies on the field. I mean, and
Yeah,
11 made the roster. I mean, it's amazing, when now they got a future and, we're aging. So it's about time we bring some young guys in there and hopefully we'll be in the mix next year. I expect us to be in the playoffs. I really do. I expect it, to have just as good a chance as anybody else in the NFC to go to that Super Bowl. I mean, I look at the AFC and I say, thank God we're not over there dealing with KC and Buffalo
oh
and
yeah, for sure.
the Ravens, and we could go on. But over in the NFC, I think it's wide open. I still have a lot of questions about Brock Purdy and the Niners, so I'm not going to pencil them in to return to the Super Bowl. So who else is going to be there? Cowboys, Eagles, Detroit, Green Bay. We're all on even playing ground if you really look at it. So we got just as good a shot as anybody at getting in there. And why not at the same time rebuild a little bit and get some guys that are going to be your future. So I'm cool with what's going on right now. I just wish the front office was more honest about what's going on. Don't tell us you're all in and then you're obviously not in. You're rebuilding a little bit. I would say reloading. We're reloading. We're not rebuilding. Rebuild means that we're going to go, 2-15 next year or whatever. I don't see that happening. I see us winning 11, 12 games again next year and being right in the
Yeah, I
mix
mean,
again.
obviously. Yeah, obviously. I mean, they're not a bad football team.
No. Hey,
Yeah,
as
we'll
far as
see. But
it
yeah,
last I
we will
checked,
discuss that last.
yeah,
Uh,
yeah,
let's discuss. You know,
yeah, fair enough. Yeah. I got a lot to say about the future. Let's make an episode on that. This is
yeah, I
our
don't want
draft
look.
episode.
Cowboy, yeah, Cowboy Reg has some. We haven't recorded in a few weeks, so my apologies. But I mean, he's got some thoughts, and I'm with you. I agree. It's a mix, and I think I fell. That's why a lot of my I'm so pessimistic about this team next year is because of what we were promised by our owner and front office. And you're right. It's just that there's a disconnect there. But 100%. I mean, hopefully we got some good young talent coming in next year, as well as a good
And we got young talent.
returning
We got
cast. Yeah,
Tyler
yeah,
Smith and Jake Ferguson. Oh my goodness, Jake Ferguson and Parsons is young and Bland is young and Diggs is young and hey, the core is
yeah,
back. The core is back. I mean, don't
yeah.
pencil us out. Everybody's like, oh, the
No,
Cowboys are
absolutely not.
dropping. Tell me who they lost that made an impact on that team last year. Tony Pollard, 1,004 yards, 4.1 yards a carry, and we're thinking that we're gonna go 0-17 because he's gone. I mean,
We have a
probably
run
should have been.
game next
Yeah,
year. I mean, run. It's not like you lost your when you're a
no,
run team, you lost your top running back. I mean, this
yeah,
is you plug and play a couple guys. They can combine for that next year. So yeah, I'm with you, Cowboy Reg. All right, we're gonna close this out today. Um, those are our draft grades. Appreciate your insights, Cowboy Reg. I thought we did a good job, but overall, I think we're both in agreement that the Cowboys had a pretty good draft. So something to feel optimistic about. And let's talk about the Cowboys' future maybe next week. Maybe
sounds
we'll
good.
record next Saturday. I think we'll pencil that in next Saturday. We'll
I
talk
like
about
it.
Cowboys' future. All right. Some preseason projections of maybe the Cowboys record now that we have the schedule out. How about that?
Yeah, sounds like
Let's
a
do it.
plan. Let's do that.
All right, Cowboy Reg. Appreciate your time, your efforts, everything you do for us over at the Sons of Star Pod on the X World. Follow us on Twitter or X at Sons of Star Pod and at Cowboy Reg. We appreciate you tuning in. We have a great, looks like we got 80 people in our live stream right now. So, hey, we really appreciate y'all. We'll see you next
Appreciate
week.
y'all.
This is Dallas. That's Cowboy Reg. We are out of here. Go Cowboys.